Saturday.
Hello, happy Saturday. I was like writing our guest's name on our paper because I think it's been since like May that we've had somebody on. I was like, oh, Carrie, you probably should like get your paper started. I was like, we're like out of practice. I'm so excited for today.
I am also very excited for today.
I couldn't think of a more perfect way to restart up our new Doodle and Chat with friends than this guest. And also
season 3.
What's that?
It's season 3 with friends.
Yes, season 3 with friends. I can't believe that, right?
Yeah.
So she makes our 25th friend. Maybe not 25th, but somewhere in there.
We'll have to count.
We will have to count. No, it's more than 25.
It is more than 25. So, because each season I create that.
Right. And I was trying to think, I told you I created like a poster.
Yeah.
We should
we'll have to figure out how many friends we've had. Yeah.
We really do. We have a lot of friends.
We have a lot of friends. So I put a little plug in for Doodle and Chat this week in my district. We send out a little blurb, a little newsletter type thing. And one of our previous guests was one of the blurbs that they had put on there. And so later that week I had a meeting and she was like, do you know this like person very well that I quoted? She's like, I had never really looked at his information before. And I was like, yeah, we actually had him on our Saturday YouTube show. What are you talking about? So I got to share just a little bit about Doodle and Chat and the interview that we had with the educators. So
look at us.
I know.
Look at us.
But I am excited today to have a guest back for this new season. This is one of my favorite things that we do on Doodle and Chat. So I'm ready to jump in. Are you ready to jump in?
Do it.
All right. So our guest today joins us from Illinois. So Carrie's neck of the woods, where she teaches 7th and 8th grade students. She is a writer, blogger, educator, and lover of traveling, hiking, yoga, and trying anything new. She's a passionate writer of picture books, YA novels, and personal essays. She has a goal, which made my heart so happy, for Latinx youth like her to see themselves in books. She shares her love for writing on the Story Exploratory and Teach Mentor texts. She is the author of The Many Hues of Nina May and is working on a book for teachers. I'm so excited to Doodle and Chat all about Jen Vincent today.
Here we go.
Yay.
I felt a bit emotional, but I almost got a little teary, Jen. Maybe it's just because we've known each other for so long.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I mean, if we've known each other since like Twitter and ed camps, like I think I've known you I've worked in 3 districts, so since my first district. So I feel like it's a long time. It
has been a long time.
2012, 13, 14, somewhere in there.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome. So, we haven't done this for a while. I feel stuck, and that never happens. Andy knows that. I'll just ramble on. So we have with us here the bowl that knows, and we call it the bowl that knows because it always seems to give us just the right questions for the guests that we have. And so in this bowl, we have very special questions. We've done our research. We've interviewed your people. We have very special questions just for you in here, as well as some random ones that even Mandi and I don't know what they are. So we're going to turn our cameras on and pull from the bowl that knows and Doodle and Chat all about you today.
Awesome.
Okay.
So fun.
And you never know when you're going to get a random haiku.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully I filtered our things. But you know what? Haikus are fun.
Haikus are fun, and you just never know.
Yeah, I actually did a workshop with Natalie Goldberg, I know her from Writing Down the Bones, is one of her famous books about writing. And I was like, that would be cool to take a workshop with her. And she was part of a whole haiku retreat. And I did like an online retreat with her and other people as well. And they brought on all these people to talk about haiku, talk about like the art of haiku, how it originated, where it started. And I got like gained a depth of haiku, like in different, because we just think 575 and that's it. But I was like, oh, this is really interesting. They're very like, they don't have to be 575. That's just like when we translate it to English, it's the most common thing. So in Japanese, they're not always 575, but they're very like sparse, and they are meant to be like very witty and like, you know, like this turn of like a surprise, an element of surprise in haiku. So yeah, there's more to haiku than you think.
That sounds fun. I always thought about how fun mastering some type of haiku would be to join it with drawings. It would be, you know, a nice entryway into things. But yeah, haikus are fun.
Yeah. So we're going to love the haikus today.
Yes, we will embrace them. And the bull has given us some really random ones lately. So, you know, never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Never know. Our producer had their first football game to go watch last night. So I didn't even see them when they got home. So I'm guessing they're still sleeping. That's Annabeth.
I was wondering. I'm like, maybe Annabeth will be there.
I was hoping she would. I think she'll be a little, I didn't talk. I went to bed before she got home. So she might be a little disappointed that I didn't wake her up. But I didn't want to wake the bear.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Not worth it.
I adore her. We adore her. So
Yes,
I'm sure she feels the love.
We'll send that out into the universe. Maybe she'll hear it in a dream and she'll wake up and she'll pop up down here. Oh, we haven't had this one in a while. What are 3 timeless strategies and or mindsets for any educator?
Ooh, I like this. I've actually been working on 7 rules to live by with my 7th and 8th graders because they're writing memoir.
Oh, I love that.
So actually, I'm going to pull up really quickly my 7 rules to live by.
Yes.
But I would say most of mine are about not taking things personally. I feel like that would be my number 1. To not take things personally, because even though we think that things are about us, they might not always be. And I teach middle school, so I feel like that's a lot of times the case to not take things personally because they have their own things going on, right?
Yes.
So I would say that's 1. To see everything as an opportunity. I really feel like we can reframe anything to look at it as an opportunity. So even if something feels like we're unsure about it or not sure how it's going to go, we can reframe it as, okay, it's an opportunity to do this and figure it out. So you want all 7 of my rules? I saw you wrote down 7 rules.
I wrote down 3. I was writing down the first 3. I thought that maybe you were, but no, you don't. You can say all 7, or you can just say your 3 things, whatever.
Okay. So, yeah. So don't take things personally. Take everything as an opportunity. And I'm going to go with my last one to be, go with the flow. A little bit of like, I feel like we hold on to expectations so much. And then when what happens doesn't match our expectations, then that's when it's easy to be like cranky or annoyed or frustrated. And instead, if we just go with the flow and accept what comes and accept, you know, okay, here's what I'm dealing with today. Like we were just talking about things that happened this week, and we had the power go out and AC go out at my school on like an almost 90-degree day. So not what I expected, but you have to just go with the flow and let it all happen, and then figure it out and deal with it. And again, see everything as an opportunity to shift or an opportunity to slow down.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I also love those. I love how those connected to education, really. And they really are timeless, you know, like though, don't take things personally. Like we really need to keep ourselves in checks as educators. It's really not about us, you know?
Well, actually, I think that's what happens. Is I feel like behaviors like get us dysregulated. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it can turn into like, okay, I'm so mad right now because this isn't going the way I wanted to go. Or like you did something and now I'm frustrated. And if I can just regulate and breathe and like, you know, and notice like, oh, that really did, you know, get me riled up, or that bothered me. What does that mean? Or what am I making that mean about it? If I can calm myself down.
Right.
Move through it. It's very helpful for all of us, I think.
I agree. Or even I think the new lesson that's coming more and more with behaviors is that the behavior is communication, right? So if it's communication, you really can't take it personally. They're just trying to tell us something, right?
Exactly.
No, I love.
Even if it's not, it's like sometimes I'm like, I wish you would just tell me that.
I know.
Like,
You really have to yell at me. You can just tell me you're mad.
Like, it's this puzzle that I have to understand what you're trying to tell me. But yes, I agree with you for sure. Like, every behavior is communication in some way, for sure.
I can't spell again today. Opportunity. I missed a whole N and a U, I think, in there.
Wasn't sure either. I think I got it, but
I was looking at it. I'm like, that word is too short.
I love that list of things. Things that I also, honestly, over the last couple of years have also worked on. Not taking things personally, though, as I stepped into an administrator role, you really do have to embrace. Don't take things personally, because a lot of times people come to you already frustrated, already escalated, and their frustration comes out towards you, but that's not what they're meaning. And so you do really have that. That's the one that I really have to take to heart. It's not personal. Let's just work through it. So,
yeah.
And also, like, from the teacher's perspective, which I think I appreciate when we talk about this, is that when I go to you and you have to tell me how something is, it's not because you think it's that way. Sometimes it's because of the district or the rules say that way. And you really have to try not hard. It's not like you're doing that to me as an educator, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think those are so timeless. Love
so
it.
One more that I have on there, you don't have to add it right now, but just the be your own best friend. I feel like we do have to take care of ourselves. Like we have to really love ourselves and take care of ourselves, especially as teachers. This hit me with the pandemic. I remember like teaching in the pandemic that year when we were going back in the fall of 2020, thinking that I was going to have to take care of myself, right? Like I just knew, like, administrators, I appreciate that they have a job to do, right? And they're also in the middle of things. Like they were also going through it. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't fair to say like, oh, well, the administrators aren't taking care of me because they were also needed to take care of, So I felt like, yeah, this is like, I got to make sure that I'm taking care of myself and doing what I need to do and setting good boundaries and all of that. So I feel like that's also important, not to think that other people should do that you really have to take care of yourself and make sure that you love yourself and be your own best friend.
I agree. This summer, when I found myself in some hard spots, I did realize, and I was happy that I had the strategies to go back to. I was like, Carrie, you got to take care of yourself first, so that way, no matter what happens, you're ready. But you're right. Having a strong foundation with yourself is very important, whether you're teaching or you're just a human being. Yeah, for sure. I like
and
that.
Even if it's just saying like, I need you to do that, right? Like just being able to speak up. But we would do that for our best friends. We'd be like, she didn't get the popsicle, she needs one too. Like we do that for ourselves, right? And speak up and say like, I need this or I need that. And
I didn't even think of it like that, but you're right. Like if you think about you're talking to your best friend.
Yeah.
That's a whole layer. I love it.
Cheer them on and you'd coach them up and you'd be like, you can do this, or that's not fair. You need to go tell them that this is different, or yeah.
I love that. I think I might have to make that for like a poster for my friend or in my classroom. Like, what would your best friend say to you? Like, yeah. I love that. Mm-hmm. Just dropping wisdom on us this morning, Jen.
Can you tell I've worked on it a lot, but that's what writing has been for me. Truly, I feel like I've unlocked this through writing and really being able to sit with my own thoughts. Like I do a lot of free writing just in the morning or at night and just hear what I have to say. And mm-hmm. then also through writing so much, I realized things that were in my heart that I wasn't doing. And that really spurred me then to go do things. So for example, I wrote an essay. I can't remember I think I just, I know what I was frustrated about. Okay. So my mom is from Guatemala and I didn't go to Guatemala until I was I was 36 years old was the first time that I got to go. And that was really hard for me to like know that I had family there and people who had visited, but I had never been. So I wrote this essay, like trying to write, like it's just on my heart. Like I feel it so much that I feel so connected to this place, even though I've only been there. At the time, I only been there once. I went when I was 36 and I was 38 when I was writing this essay. And I realized that I really wanted to go back. And I was writing like about me going to college. I was the first in my family to go to college in the United States, and a lot of firsts that I did. And I felt like you did that. Like I was writing my essay, like, you went to college, and Vincent, why can't you go back to Guatemala? And that was a big deal for me. I got to the end and I was like, oh, I need to go to Guatemala. Like this is on my heart, but I wasn't really in touch with it until I wrote the essay and I got to the end and it was kind of like, so now what? Like, are you going or not? And then I booked a trip to Guatemala. So I went in 2019 on my own. I went and stayed with cousins and it was super fun. And then I also went back again in January 2020 before the pandemic because I felt like I needed to go back. So I'm hoping to go next year. But that was something that writing really helped me see, like, you have this in your heart and you're not like living that, right? Like, and not bringing it forward. So that really is just one big example, but other small ways that writing has helped me really get in touch with who I am, what I care about, and making sure that I'm living that instead of going about life and forgetting some of those things that are important to me that I need to be out doing. So, yeah.
Love it.
I do too.
I think, because I've gone back and forth and I still do want to get back to blogging and writing. And I also I feel like it's a lost art, I think it's something that brought a lot of us together. And then Twitter came, because there's been an evolution. We've been here for it, right? All of us, we've all been here for it. Remember, you even had your blogging groups. I know you've done that with Mentor Text. You had your blogging groups and you signed up to read everybody's stuff and go on. And there's this part of me that also thinks that we are going to flop back to that a little bit as teachers and people, but like there's a nice, wonderful space in the writing world, that offers a very unique voice also.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's been a shift in reading, right? Like I was talking to students about how I used to read in the car, but then I would get sick. So then if I had audiobooks back then, I would have read a lot more books. But I don't think I don't think the majority of kids pick a book first. I feel like there's so many other activities now that when I was a kid, books were fun because that was like I don't know, it was a way to connect with stories that now there's videos, everything's on demand, there's YouTube. I mean, there's so much more access to stories in multimedia formats that I feel like kids don't move towards books as much. So that's what I work on a lot, is connecting kids with books and giving them time to read and encouraging them to find things that they love. But yeah, so I feel like writing then is sort of an extension of that, right? Like, yes, we can write, but there's so much other ways that we can create and express ourselves that I do feel like writing with words is a unique little space. I've actually joined Substack. Have you heard of Substack?
Yes.
Yeah. So storyexploratory.substack.com is my new Substack. And I've been trying to post like very consistently there. And there's also like a social media aspect. You can go on and like chat with people.
Okay.
So that's been fun. Like I feel like it's like re-energized, groups and people coming together and a place where people are gathering to read longer form. So
okay, cool. Yeah. Good to know.
So Substack's a good place to be for sure.
Yeah. That was so fun. See, who knows? Like
I could just keep talking.
Well, no, at first I was like, I read the question. I was like, Bull, seriously? Like, this is just too serious for the first question. But like, there you were like pulling out, let me share my 7 rules to live by for writing memoirs in my classroom.
Yep.
Yeah. Which must be a new thing because Annabeth's a senior. They started the year with micro memoirs, which I thought was fun.
Oh, that's cool.
That's kind of a standard entry, but it's still, very cool.
Yeah. I like that. Okay. I need to know more about micro memoirs. I wonder if they're just like essays. Like, I feel like as I'm coaching my kids, we're going to write, like a personal essay. But I think people don't necessarily think of a personal essay as like that really good combination of story plus teaching facts, right? Mm-hmm. That you can start with like, I'm in this moment, and then also then shift to, let me teach you about where I am or a place like that. And then also that there's just a really strong lesson. That's why we're starting with lessons. Like, hey, here's these lessons to try to come up with ideas of what we can share. So
yes. Yeah. No, I know she read hers to me. It had to be really short and concise. I would say that it was probably more challenging than you'd think it was because it was micro, you know?
Yeah.
But fun, you know, I could see it being like a fun wrap up way for an activity. Like you wrote your memoir. Now let's try a micro memoir or maybe an extension. You know, I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. So she did. You have been part of Teachers Write 2020, Sunday check-ins. It's Monday. What are you reading? Life Capacha, and hashtag We Write. Why is bringing people together and being part of a community so important?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, we did Life Capture. I forgot about that. It's so fun. I think this is like a big part of my journey just as a human is the inclusivity piece. Oh, this is going to make me cry. We were just watching the Paralympics before I got on. I had it on this morning and we were watching and talking about that. And I started off actually in deaf education, working with students who are deaf and hard of hearing, as that was my like original job as a teacher. And I just feel like that idea of inclusivity is so important. And I think not realizing it at the time, it was really a bigger message just for me. So yeah, I taught first, and then I didn't really start writing again for myself until 2011. Like personally, I started working on a novel and all of that. I wrote in high school, but once I started writing as an adult, I realized how big of a deal it was that I grew up in a really white space, and I am Latina, and like I'm a mix. So my dad is Irish and Welsh, blonde hair, blue eyes, and then my mom is from Guatemala. So I've got a mix, and I think growing up in such a white space around people who didn't speak Spanish, and the only people I really saw her were also Latinx, were like the landscapers, you know, or like the housekeepers. And I grew up in a very affluent community, and we like rented our apartment. You know, I feel like there was a lot of things that I felt othered in a lot of ways. So I had to really learn to identify with being Latina and to be able to say like, oh no, I'm Latina, I speak Spanish, and like to talk all about that. I didn't connect with it for a really long time. I would deny it or not even say that I spoke Spanish. And now I'm much more excited to be like, oh yeah, Latina, and like share that with people and talk about that, talk about being a mix, talk about being first generation here in the United States. So I think that inclusivity piece is a big deal, is feeling included and feeling like people belong. So that has been something that's been, I think, something that I needed for myself. And so then I care about it so much to bring other people together. I'm also an extrovert. I just really like people. I really like people a lot. It energizes me. So getting together with other people, talking with people, sharing ideas, it really gets me going and gets my like juices flowing. So I love to be with other people in general, but I want to create space where people feel like they are included and they do feel like they're part of something. I think belonging is really important.
Agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
we don't usually have I tell Carrie anytime that we have like quiet or downtime, it's because we're really processing and thinking about what's been said and what we're doing. And I think the really cool thing about that is every time you give us, you know, you answer one of the questions that the bowl has given you, it really gives you a lot to deeply think about and kind of reflect on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for sure.
I'm a very reflective person. I always have been.
Yeah.
That's just been part of me. I think I notice a lot. I was really quiet as a kid. I noticed and paid attention, and I have read a lot. I mean, I've read so much, and I think that's what led me to writing. To me, there's a really strong connection between reading and writing, that when you have read so much, you naturally know how stories go, and it's much easier to put your words on the paper and have a feeling of how they should fit together and get organized and all of that. So I think reading and writing has helped me be reflective in general.
I like it.
I do. I like that also. just a nice reminder too, the perspective that you gave on the connection between reading and writing, because we know that as educators, but I think sometimes even for myself, it's hard to really get down to the nitty gritty about why they're so intertwined. And you just worded it very well, almost like you're an ELA teacher.
Almost, yeah.
Are you teaching ELA this year? Yes.
Yeah. So I'm at a small school. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I'm the only 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teacher. Like I have all the 6th graders, all the 7th graders, probably 8th graders. So it's fun. Yeah. I'm loving it. Really loving it.
So what's the name of the class that you teach then, if you have all of them?
It's English language arts, but I have I have them separated by grade.
Yeah.
But we're just so small that there's just one class of each.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. It's really lovely.
That's fun.
It's a dream. It's ideal for sure. It's awesome.
That is fun. And
if you want to come visit, let me know because you're close. I love having visitors. I think it's fun. But I feel like it's fun to talk to other people because I do think like as an educator, you can sometimes get stuck in like a group think or the people that you're hanging out with. It's part of why I like social media. But I also feel like, getting out and going to somebody else's school or classroom and visiting and seeing what it's like, we can get a lot of ideas from that.
I agree. I would love to I think educators as a whole could spend more time in each other's classrooms.
I am so sorry. That would be me not turning off my focus for the morning. I told you my morning has been rough.
We love you, Mandi.
I know.
It's like a dance break. We just need to dance.
Focus turned off on my laptop because if not, I have to grab my phone. So you'll see my face under the phone here in just a second.
Okay.
All right. Maybe I did on my watch. Sorry. Keep going. My apologies for that this morning.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'll see if I can get the focus turned off on my phone.
All right. Here we go. Okay, Jen can correct me if I say something wrong. What are your 3 favorite memories from climbing active volcano Pacaya and second highest volcano in Central America, Takana?
Takana.
I missed the A.
That's okay. Okay, my 3 favorite memories?
Yes.
So Pacaya, I climbed with my family. We climbed together when we were all there, which was really fun. So that was a cool memory. Takana was one of the trips when I went back and I just climbed with my cousin. And when the first time when I went with my family in 2016, I was 36. My kids got to go. So that was really neat. And we traveled a lot and did a lot. And it just so happened that my cousin, who I climbed Takana with, he has like an excursion company. Like that's his business.
Oh.
He takes people on all these like different tours and trips. And I love to camp. I rock climbed when I was in high school. Like I've always been an outdoorsy person. But once I had kids and got married and then had kids, I feel like we don't do that stuff as much just because my husband is not super outdoorsy, doesn't love it the way that I loved it. So that was something that, again, I felt like in my heart that I just was kind of okay with not doing. And then when we went to Guatemala in 2016, we weren't supposed to see this cousin who does all these excursions, but we just happened to run into him at a hotel. He was there with his family, it was like a spa hotel, like he was there with his family and we were there and it was like, oh my gosh, you're here. And so I got to meet him and I was talking to him about his business. And I'm also an entrepreneur. I started Story Exploratory and this was kind of at the same time. And I just was really inspired by him. So when I went back to Guatemala, I was like, I want to go on a trip with you. And I did go, we went like on a hiking trip, we rappelled, and then we slept like right by this lake. We went camping. That was in 2019. And then 2020, when I went back, I was like, okay, I'm coming back. We're going on a trip. And he was like, well, we're climbing Takana that weekend. I'm like, okay, I'm going to train myself up. So lessons from climbing Takana. I think I would say that one stood out to me because I did it on my own. Like it was all by myself, where the other ones with my family. I was with my cousin, but he was leading the whole thing and he was at the front. I was at the very, very back. So I really had to practice my breathing, right? Like, because it's a lot. Like I think it's like 13,000 feet high. It's a lot. It's a really big volcano. So I had to really breathe because I also, as I started, was like, okay, I can't be out of breath at the beginning. And I kind of have to go up. Like, there's no choice to go. I could probably have gone down, but like, this is what you're doing. So I really had to breathe. So I feel like that would be my first lesson, was really, really breathing and taking it one step at a time. That was really important. I think I learned a lot of perseverance from that, to just keep going. And like, I had to practice like a mantra, like telling myself that I could do this. So I think like positive mindset would have been something that, yes, I had to do the body part of it, but my brain also had to do a lot of work. Like, it was more my mindset, right? Of like, I can do this, and telling myself I could do it. So I guess that would be a lesson, the mindset of like knowing I could talk myself through it. And then it was totally worth it. Like, it was worth the risk. Yes, it was a risk and it was a challenge, but it was totally worth doing, because we got to the top of the volcano. We slept in the like crater at the top, and then we climbed in the morning to go see the sunset, or the sunrise in the morning.
Oh,
so it was really beautiful. Yeah. So it was totally worth it. And I think, that was one of my other rules, is like, be willing to put in the work. So that's one of my 7 rules that I didn't share. But I think if you want something, you're going to have to work a little bit for it, right? Like, I think kids today especially think things should come easily. Like, I want to be a YouTube star and it's going to be quick, right? Like, I'm just going to do this and it's going to work. Yeah. And I think, no, you got to put in work. You got to put in some effort along with your talents, and be willing to do that work. So that is, I think, important.
I love it.
Yeah. That was a fun memory.
It is fun. Time is flying.
I know. I love it.
It's crazy. I forget.
So excited to be back.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
And I just like the bowl, bringing it back to the 7 rules. It's blowing my mind still. Oh, I was hoping we would get this question. Since the first day in November of 2015, Purdy has been a special part of your family. I consider her this. I don't know if you label this, but I'm giving her this label for you. What is the best thing about having her as your ride or die?
Oh, yes, she is my ride or die. I love her.
Purdy's her dog, and she's adorable, Mandi.
Okay. She's so cute. She's a Dalmatian mix, so she's white with black spots, and she's a rescue, so she definitely has something
beautiful.
Yes, she's like so sweet. Oh my gosh, this is pretty wild, because when I first started teaching and I would write with students, we would practice writing paragraphs. I would write about my dog, and I'd say, Mr. Vincent doesn't want a dog, but I really want a dog. And so let's write a persuasive paragraph, like, to convince him that I should get a dog. So I would do that a lot, or that would be my example, right? Where like, here's my example. What do you want to write about? And I would encourage them to think about something that they wanted to persuade somebody about. So I wanted a dog for a really long time. And at some point, Chad finally said, when Danny's in kindergarten, we'll get a dog. That's my younger son. And I just would never forget that. So I just be like, well, when Danny's in kindergarten, And then when he finally was in kindergarten, somebody posted on Facebook, like, here's a dog at a rescue, and they should be like our mascot for school. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chad. And we went and we saw her and brought her home, and she's just been a perfect part of our family ever since then. So I feel like it was worth the wait, like, to have to wait for her, but also so easily how she finally came into our lives when it was time. And she's just been really sweet. She's so fun. She loves to go on walks. So her and I go off on our hikes together a lot, and she's helped me train, and that's been really fun. And just in general, helped me get outside. I feel like I do. I love to hike. I love to be outdoors, and she's a perfect partner for that. She likes to go to the dog park. She'll chase sticks like in the water and things like that. So she's very, very fun. She's really sweet. Everybody loves Purdy.
And she's pretty social too, isn't she?
Yeah, she loves all.
She's extroverted, right?
She's out there. Yeah, she wants to know what's going on. She'll sit outside and we'll go for a walk and then she'll be like, just stop. And she just wants to see everything that's going on. She wants to go over to people. Yeah, she loves people especially, but she likes dogs for sure as well. She likes her pup cup. She'll go to Starbucks and get a pup cup. And she's fun. Animals are cool. I feel like I didn't really understand how much they communicate and like how much you can bond with an animal. Because we had a dog growing up, but it was a family dog, but I don't feel like I connected with her in the same way as I've connected with Purdy. And yeah, they're fun. They're very special. She used to come with me to school. When I worked at the school right near my house, I'd come home and then I'd get Purdy. We'd go back and I'd make my copies and plan and things like that. It was really fun. I never asked. I just did. But she's fun.
I wanted my Purdy to be significantly cuter, but it's okay.
I love it. She's got sunglasses on. That's fun.
Got the glasses, yeah. And then
on an adventure too.
Her face got a little bit warped, but that's okay. It was one of those things where I had it in my head and I was like, I can see it in my head. Don't draw it, Carrie. You can't draw it. And I was right, but it's okay.
Well, so I love to doodle myself, but I often need to look stuff up. Like if I want to do something, like I often will look stuff up and see like how other people have done it or study it from a picture. So
yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It's okay.
Yay.
Purdy, she's so cute. It was fun. It was fun going way back because as a pup, I mean, Purdy's cute now, but boy, as a puppy, I was like, you guys lucked out at a rescue.
I know.
Just this little white. Oh my God.
I know. That's why I even told Chad the other day. I'm like, I'm amazed that
she was there.
Yeah, that tons of people didn't apply. Like how they picked us, I have no idea. Like it just, a little bit of manifesting. I had her in my heart for a long time. It just was right. But that's actually one of my most favorite memories, bringing her home. My kids were so excited that day, just like skipping to go pick stuff up and just happiness, a lot of joy.
Well, and for you, a little added estrogen in the house, right?
Yes, I have all boys. So, yeah. She's my girl for sure.
Fun. With an appearance on Inside the Bears and a supporting your hometown idol appearance, what tips do you have for others who want to make the local news too?
Ooh. Okay, yeah. So my husband is a huge sports fan. So like I said, I'm super outdoorsy and he his version of the outdoors is going golfing. So I have done a lot of sports things with him, with the Bears and with so many other things. And I would say both of us go all in on our passions. Like, I think that's what's most important. So whether you want to be on TV for something like sports with Bears or some other athletic thing or anything, I really just think being all in on whatever you're passionate about is really important. And figuring out what that looks like for you. But Chad loves to go to games. He signs up for things. He looks for free opportunities. He loves to go meet different athletes, and he just is all about it. So that I think is great. If you like something, go for it. Go all in and just be passionate about it. And you never know. People notice. I think people see that energy, right? Like it's like this excitement and this love of this thing. I feel like it pulls people towards you. So that's what I would say. I feel like just going all in on it and showing that enthusiasm and being excited is really great. Anytime we go places, we usually get there early and we usually talk to people who are there, and I feel like sometimes people overlook that, right? But again, I think I like to see people. Like that's another, like the inclusivity part for me is about like seeing people and helping people be seen and knowing that they matter. So we do that with everybody, right? Like we're going in and someone's giving us a wristband. We're like, hey, what do you think? Like, where should we go? What looks cool? Like, what do you know anything that we should be doing that's here that we would maybe miss? You know, like we just talk to people and ask them questions, and again, showing that energy and passion and excitement for it. That's I feel like how a lot of things happen. People will be like, actually, you should go here, or you know, they see that excitement and they want to help it, right? Like when they know you're passionate about something, I think a lot of times people get excited and want to even elevate it even more.
I love it. So I have to know about the American Idol thing, because there was quite a few posts about, you know, you guys following them, like going to the hometown one, because I don't do American Idol, but then you also look like you were in a concert for them, and you got to meet a bunch of them. So is that you?
Yeah.
Is it Chad? Is it both of you?
My husband loves reality TV. He's the American Idol fan first, but he got me into it, so we watched. And he really just fell in love with Danny Gokey, who is from Milwaukee.
Okay.
And like his whole story, like his wife had died from a heart condition, and then here he was like on American Idol. She thought they were part of that dream together. And yeah, Chad just thought this guy was so cool. So Chad, he really loved Danny. That's our younger son is named Danny because of Danny Gokey, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. But that's us. Like, again, we went to the event. We got there super early, talked with people, asked them questions, you know, you just show that you're excited about things. I feel like you just naturally know that it's going to be fun and fun things are going to happen.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't ever think I've been on the news. Mandi, have you?
Yes, a couple times.
For anything fun?
Some of it was fun. So I was part of our teacher union representation. So I would speak to the news sometimes on behalf of that. But when my book was published, our local news did a little story on me. So
that's fun.
Fun.
It was cool.
That is cool.
So cool. Some of this stuff, I think, I don't know, in talking about this, I'm feeling like in school, sometimes we put a damper on people's love of things, you know, but I really do feel like that is what is so important, is to make sure that you know what you care about and bring that out and be okay with that. So I think that's important to also think about as a teacher, ways to encourage kids to want to be themselves and let their passions be, you know, all, I don't know what I want to say, like out in the open, I guess,
yes.
You know, and I feel like sometimes in schools we do it, but I think other kids will do it as well, right? Where it's like, oh, well, that's not cool, or we judge other people. And I feel like it's important to try to build that up and help people know that they should love what they love and like go for it, you know, and have fun and be themselves.
Agreed. I think sometimes especially in middle school, their identity gets kind of squashed if it doesn't kind of match the norm, you know, but it's an important part of them. And I find that when we tap into that as educators and really make sure we remember it, whether it lines up with ours or not, it's always an opportunity to make a meaningful connection that's going to pay off for you in ways you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Here's the next one. On your story exploratory site, you write, "You are going to love the journey of living the life of a writer, and I'm so excited to see where it takes you. What is there to love about being a writer?"
I really feel like living the life of a writer to me extends to like your whole life, right? It's not just this one thing that you want to write or something that you need to accomplish. It's really taking on the mindset of living life of a writer and being able to explore your own stories. And going back to a little bit of the be your own best friend, I feel like, yes, we want other people to know our stories, but even just writing them for ourselves is really important because we get to know ourselves better. We understand ourselves better. I think we can process things and help ourselves take action going forward. So I just feel like living the life of a writer to me is mindfulness. It's a way of being grounded, a way of coming back to ourselves. Again, going back to that, like, things will cause us to get dysregulated, right? And as we're doing that, or as that happens to us, I feel like being able to take a deep breath, come back to center, really know what's true for us and help ourselves make steps forward that feel like they're aligned with who we are and what we care about, our values and beliefs. I feel like writing helps us to do that, especially when we do it over time. The more and more you come back to it and make it something that you're practicing, just even if you're free writing just for yourself, like in the morning, you're like, okay, how am I doing? Or at the end of a stressful day, again, how am I doing? Look at all the stuff that I did today, right? I did that through the pandemic. I would do like a notebook entry based off of Linda Berry. Do y'all know Linda Berry, the artist?
I don't know her. No.
Okay. You're going to have to search her up and maybe buy one of her books or check it out or something like that. I gave them to my sister because my sister's she's been doing a lot more art lately. So I was like, you need these books. So I don't have, otherwise I'd pull it off my shelf to show you, but I don't have my Linda Berry books. But she's really cool. She's this combination of drawing and writing. And it's really neat how when you draw, memories come up, right? Like, or you see an image of something and it can pull out a memory for you. Mm-hmm. So that's what she'll often do, is she'll draw something and then write from that. So she has something called a daily diary where you write 7 things that you did, 7 things that you saw, and then you draw something. It could be one from your list, and then write down a little snatch of like dialogue, something that you heard somebody say, or whether you said it or somebody else said it. And it, to me, was a great way to reflect during the pandemic. Again, when I felt like, am I doing a good job? Like, is this normal? Is it like, am I on the good side? Is this like not going well? Am I doing anything? Like, I wasn't sure, right? So that really helped me. Every night I would come home and like write down a list of all the things. And that helped me to see, like, even when I felt like maybe my school day wasn't going well, I'd be like, oh, but I talked to this kid and he said this, or they told me this, you know, and I would be able to write those things down and actually see that I was getting stuff done. And I felt really confident and proud about what I was doing. So I feel like that's, yeah, like it was really grounding for me to be able to do that and like notice, okay, no, you're on a good path. You are getting things done. It's powerful. And even now I'll go back and read things from different times in my life. And it's neat to see like how far I've come or who I was then, what I cared about, and how things have shifted or changed or not changed. And that's neat. So I think living life of a writer is about this mindset of how we're taking on telling stories, sharing stories, capturing our life, and being present for it.
I love that. I love that take on it, because I don't know that everybody approaches writing that way. And
Agreed.
I think maybe if we did approach writing that way, you know, maybe more people would understand that value that it is to themselves. Because even in school, and you teach writing, and so, you know, you may have a perspective on this. I was an English teacher for a few short years. It wasn't my primary, math was my primary love. It was one of those situations where we need an English teacher. Can you do it? And I said, sure. And that's how that happened. But I think at least when I was teaching, there was always like a purpose, like we need you to write for this and we need you to write for that. But it wasn't always what, you know, let's look inside, let's reflect on this. Let's have the writing help center us, help be about us, help reflect about us. And I think that approach to writing maybe would interest more people, or at least have them see that benefit of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's why but it's been that for me. I think that's how I've come to that, right? Like, because I wrote as a kid and I loved to write, and I had a lot of choice in my writing when I was young, in middle school and high school. And then I wrote academically for college, and then I started my blog. So I feel like my blog was when I was like, oh, I'm writing for myself. And then I started writing young adult novels like that. coming back to writing for myself what I really wanted to write, and then knowing all these things that were coming forward for me really helped me see like, oh, writing is like super powerful. Like, I think it's the very best self-care. I just feel like it's really, really, yeah, it's been empowering for me to be able to write and share that just for myself. And then now I'm trying to share with other people. So that's really fun to also be publishing. But yeah, just to have a notebook. The other thing I've noticed in my workshops with like adults is they've told me that they journal. People will say that to me, like, oh, I journal. But like they don't see journaling as writing,
Yeah.
which I think kind of goes along with what you're saying is in school, we make it seem like, oh, you're writing for a purpose or writing to give it to somebody rather than just for yourself. Like that kind of writing doesn't count, but it is writing. It's putting words on paper. Journaling for sure counts as writing.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. I mean, just even the things that you said, they line right up with trying to get people to draw and how they see it. Almost exactly, really. It's a mindset. Doodling is drawing. It's fascinating how things are, creative things or putting ourselves out there no matter what format have very similar roadblocks and also benefits, right?
Mm-hmm. Do you think that school plays a part in that? In like this creative, because drawing and writing are both creative acts. I mean, you're creating, whether it's creative or just creating in that sense. And I think school offers opportunities, but I think sometimes school also, not necessarily that school has to be negative, but it turns it into that, like we have like a clear definition of what it is rather than letting it be open and free.
I 100% agree with you, because I was also thinking about even my own approach to teaching writing to my students, because they face their own challenges when it comes to writing in terms of output, right? And there's so many factors that happen with that. But I was like, oh my gosh, if I want to do the kind of writing if I want to bring that into my classroom, which I am really like, it's marinating big time in my head as we're talking, it's going to take a lot of vulnerability. And that to me in the classroom is the hugest roadblock, whether you're getting kids to draw or getting kids to write, right? It's being vulnerable. So then in my mind, there's this piece that's going to me, okay, how can I make this idea of letting kids share a piece of themselves? Because I think it would be super powerful. How can I make it not a vulnerable act? And so that's what I will either be texting you about when we get done here or be mulling about, because that to me will be the biggest roadblock. Will be making a safe space.
Yeah. And to me, what I would say is I think as teachers, we're the ones that have to be vulnerable first.
Okay.
Right? Because I think that's the same way with drawing. Like if
and it's exactly what I would say. You have to sit down and draw with your students.
Yeah. And you got to write with them. Right. But that again is like, for some people, it's like, oh gosh, it brings up all sorts of emotions.
Sure.
About, like how you judge yourself. Do you think you're a good writer or not a good writer? And then to think of what you want to share, and what story do you want to share that you show them how to do it? But I think that to me would be part of it, right? And like then it becomes back to what are all the feelings that come up for you and processing that. But I think sharing that with the kids, right? Like I want to do this, so I did it first, and here's what I'm feeling as I'm doing it. But then also how you're talking yourself through it.
I love it. And that's exactly what I would say if I was teaching people to draw. That the connection is really kind of right now. It's blowing my mind a little bit.
It's pretty cool. I love it.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Just jotting an idea down.
Yay!
Well, that's something to hopefully get me to remember the idea, because I already forgot it, but it'll get there. It'll come back to me. Does it happen in your head? Do you guys can you kind of envision a little bit like the idea just left, right? And you're like, maybe it's attached to a string and I can grab it back, but hopefully it is.
Just trust.
I will trust the process.
So my idea is like that. And I think it has to do with like certain tasks deactivate part of your brain so that another part of your brain can process things that maybe you don't normally process. At least that's how I think it works, because my ideas come to me in the shower.
Yes.
Because in the shower, it is a mindless task. You're probably following the same routine every time. And so I got to the point where I have just right outside the bathroom door a notepad, if I get an idea in the shower, I will, as soon as I get out, will try to jot it down, because a lot of times the moment my brain re-engages outside of the shower, that idea is gone.
Yeah.
And so I really do think it has to do with, like, we have part of our brain turned on all the time doing all of the things that this other part of our brain just doesn't have the opportunity to say, hey, there's an idea over here. You're just not listening because you've got so many other things going on.
Yeah.
Sure.
That happens to me all the time. Hiking is that for me. Oftentimes when I'm out, like I'll go for a hike and then I'm walking and then the ideas come to me. And I think I just saw somebody on Threads the other day, something like, you just have to sit down and write. And I'm like, well, yes, but at the same time, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you sit down to do it. It is good to have a practice, right? But sometimes you sit down and doing it, it just doesn't work. And you need to change it up. You need to go for a walk or go do something different that, like you said, just feels mindless, that then it's easier for the ideas to flow in. My friend Amy has, it exists. It's like a waterproof notepad. You can put it in your shower.
I probably need that. I probably need that.
You can put it in your shower. So it does exist, which is kind of cool. But I think, to me, what I'm hearing you also say is this is something that you've noticed about yourself, right? Like you have an awareness that this works for you. Yeah. So you know that that's how you need to sometimes gather your ideas, which is what I talk about also in terms of living the life of a writer. Is I'm not the kind of person who will tell you, well, this is how you do it. Instead, I'm like, these are things that you have to consider and things to think about, but you have to live the life of a writer your own way. You have to go and find out what works for you and figure that out. So I really like to center the writer in my workshops, where people get to know themselves. I'm not here saying this is the only way to do it. I'm telling you, well, think about, how do you collect your ideas? Do you collect them when you're in the shower? Like you need something to write them down, then you should have that, right? Or if you're driving, if you have a commute, and like that's when you come up with ideas. Maybe you want to do a voice memo where like you're recording your ideas there. There are things that you can think about, right, to just flow with your day. I know when I became a mom, things are different. Like I listen to so many more audiobooks now than I ever did, but that's because I just can be active and doing things while listening at the same time. So I think it's important, that awareness of knowing ourselves and then figuring out what can work for us is better than trying to say, oh, well, this person said I could do it this way, and then trying to only do it that way and think that that's the only way. That's like undoing a little bit of, I think, school, right? But like, my teacher said it has to be this many paragraphs. Like, it's releasing from that and instead thinking, okay, how many paragraphs do I need to tell what I need to tell? So.
I don't know how many times I say that phrase. I teach doctoral students, so like, adults, and all of our stuff has like paragraph requirements. And my first thing I always say is, just give me the information. I'm not counting your words. I'm not counting your paragraphs. Some people can share the information in a very succinct way. They don't need as many paragraphs. Some people need a little bit more to share their idea. It's okay. Just share the idea. And I think that's important. Like we don't need to put these parameters on it. Right. The idea behind it is we want you to give enough information. But if you realize that people share their ideas differently, we can't confine it like that.
Right. Exactly.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Well, our hour is up. Can you believe it? This was so much fun. So much fun.
Yay! This has been amazing.
Zoom in on Mandi's.
Fun. So fun.
I got to draw a TV and a dog all in one drawing.
And a volcano.
Yes, volcanoes too. Yes.
I love it. That is so fun. Oh, I love that you wrote, I'm here. I heard something somewhere to say that you're not nowhere, you're now here. And I feel like that's really powerful too.
I like the whole be your own best friend thing. That is just, I'm like, I'm going to have to do something with those words, like big and bold.
Yeah.
Lots of little nuggets that you shared with us today. Loving it so much.
I appreciate it. Will you send me, like, I would love to like print those out and I'll like post them.
Yeah, we'll share them out on Instagram. I'll email them to you as well, for sure.
Cool. Yeah. But I feel like I need to hang them up to like remind myself of who I am.
Aw. Well, and we have a very new, exciting thing happening here on Doodle and Chat. Jen doesn't know that she's the first one that's part of it, but you are our inaugural friend. So starting this month, every time we have a friend on the show, Mandi and I have decided that we want to do a book giveaway. And Jen is donating her book. I'm guessing it's the Hues of
The Many Hues of Nina May. Yeah, this is my young adult. Yep.
Yes. So we will be friends who are interested in joining that giveaway can find us on Instagram and watch for the post tomorrow. Follow the rules in the post. And then next Saturday, on next Saturday's episode, Mandi and I will announce the winner and we will get your book off to you. So we're very excited to be spreading more opportunities for people to get in touch with books and also the amazing people that we have here on our show.
Awesome. Great idea.
Very exciting. And if people want more details, they can check the show notes as well, where they can see information about it. And if you were here with us today and you drew along with us, please snap a picture of your Doodle and Chat and share it out on your favorite social media platform using hashtag Doodle and Chat. And then you can join us back here every Saturday morning at 9:33ish, where we doodle and chat together. All right, everybody. Thank you, Jen, so much.
Thank you.
Yes, it was great. It was great learning about you today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.